We have finally made it. We have finally made it to the month of February. We survived. And to celebrate the occasion and to kick off the month in good fashion, I'm going to share with you my top 10 or who are my top 10 NASCAR drivers entering the 2020 season. Do not think of it as a power rankings. This is more of like my personal list. After you watch this video, I want to know in the comments what are your top 10 NASCAR drivers, or who do you think your top 10 NASCAR drivers will be on the season. I believe there are gonna be some disagreements, but that's okay. That's why this is a community. Anyways, let's begin with number 1. I got Kyle Busch, of course. He is the best driver, and without a doubt, the best driver of the past decade, the 2010s. He is the most talented driver on the field right now. Maybe he doesn't look as unstoppable as he was, especially after in the second half of the season. But he still came up clutch, and he won a Homestead. He was a really deserving championship. For those of the haters that said that his 2015 championship was given to him because of the playoff format, his 2019 championship was really a well-deserved one, and in my opinion, it is the most satisfying of the others. The 2 championships he's won so far. Kyle Busch is the most talented driver on the field, and he's on the best team, on the best car. I mean, at this point, it's not even a debate that Kyle Busch is number 1. Moving on, we got number 2, Kevin Harvick. I believe Harvick's 2019 campaign was very underrated, considering that this was coming off the heels of an amazing 2018 campaign where he and Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole were not near unstoppable. Of course, 2019 was a year of regression for Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole, but Harvick still managed to carry the torch deep into the postseason. He even made it to the championship 4, and he put up a really good fight against the 3 Gibbs cars. But in the end, what can you do? Stewart-Haas clearly was not the same from 2018. But still, Harvick carried the torch for a struggling Stewart-Haas team. That was, I believe, that was pretty underrated in him, and I believe Harvick is due for a redemption in 2020 of sorts. I still believe that Harvick has a few championship contending seasons under his belt, maybe even a championship coming for him. So that's why he's at my number 2. Number 3 is Denny Hamlin. Hamlin really redeemed himself in 2019. I would like to call his campaign magical because it really was. It was magical. It kind of came out of left field after that disastrous 2018 season. And I believe that season rejuvenated Hamlin, and I could see him making another run at a championship. Of course, after what I witnessed at Homestead, I don't know if I'm confident picking Hamlin as a championship. I believe that it is just destiny that Hamlin will never win a championship, and he will go down as one of the greatest drivers to never win a championship. He's gonna be like the Mark Martin of this era, the Elliott Sadler of the Cup Series, if you like to call him that. But honestly, Hamlin is still a very talented driver. He still has he proved that he still has a handful of good seasons under his belt left in him. And yeah, I believe even if he doesn't win a championship, he's gonna make a strong push in 2020. Number 4 is gonna be Joe Logano. I have seen some people say that him and Todd Gordon had a lot of chemistry, and that him no longer having Todd Gordon is going to affect his performance. I do not think so, especially when you consider the fact that Paul Wolf is gonna be replacing him. And if you didn't watch my video about what I think about the Team Penske crew chief swaps, I really believe you should watch that, because it really gives some insight as to why I think that Paul Wolf is the best crew chief on among the three Penske guys, and I believe he's gonna bring out the best in Logano like he did with Keselowski back in 2011 when he started driving the 2 car. Because back in 2010, many people may forget that in the Cup Series in 2010, yes, because Keselowski drove full time in the Cup Series in 2010, but yeah, that season was disastrous. Simply put, he didn't have Paul Wolfe as a crew chief. Then in 2011, Paul Wolfe gets promoted to the Cup Series with Keselowski, and he brings out the best in him. I believe that Paul Wolfe is gonna give Logano that missing piece that he needs to get back into the championship for, and make a strong championship push, and possibly be an underdog to win the championship, like he did in 2018. Number 5 is gonna be Martin Truex Jr. I believe that Cole Pearn leaving Joe Gibbs Racing is gonna really hurt Truex, because he's clearly been the best crew chief he's ever had, and there's no debating that. Truex without Cole Pearn is pretty it's a pretty mediocre driver. Or at least I would say that if it wasn't for the fact that Truex is driving for the best team in NASCAR in Joe Gibbs Racing right now. So I believe he will do just fine. I believe he will still have a contending season. I just don't know if he will be able to contend for a championship like he did before. He could be a dark horse championship contender at best. I can see a world where he becomes a dark horse and wins the championship, but that's pretty unlikely. And yeah, I believe this is gonna kick off the regression of Truex. It's gonna be slow, but sooner or later Truex may not be the same anymore. Now, number 6, I got Chase Elliott. In spite of all the inconsistencies that Hendrick Motorsports suffer, especially by Hendrick Motorsports, I mean the 9 team, because that is the Hendrick's best team, and Chevrolet's best team, arguably, unless you want to say Kyle Larson. But yeah, Chase Elliott, despite the inconsistencies, Chase Elliott managed to rattle off 3 wins, and he is still a top 6 driver in the sport. I think he really proved that by having several clutch moments in the playoffs, even if his season ended tragically. But yeah, Elliott is, I believe, amongst all the hate that Elliott is the golden boy of NASCAR, that NASCAR rigs races for Elliott, I don't believe any of that, of course. I believe Elliott as a driver, his talent-wise, I believe Elliott has become a bit underrated on that side of the spectrum. So I believe 2020 will be a season where, hopefully 2020 is a season where Elliott can finally put it all together and finally win that and finally become a championship contender. I don't think he's ready yet to win a championship, but he is on the right track. Number 7, I got, and this is kind of a bold prediction, but number 7, I have Kyle Larson. Yeah, I know Larson. Larson has made a lot of controversy with him saying that Chili Bowl is better than the Daytona 500, but that is what he thinks, and it is okay. If Larson believes that the Chili Bowl means more to him than the Daytona 500, that is fine by him. He is a dirt racer at heart, and he will always be. And that is his opinion. Well, I don't really agree with it. It is his opinion, and that's fine. Now, as a NASCAR driver, Larson kind of had a redemption season in 2019 after, again, disappointing in 2018. Do I think Kyle Larson will have the breakout season he had in 2017? No, but 2019 gave us signs that maybe he is on the track to have a pretty good season. Hopefully he can finally win a Homestead, especially now that Homestead is not the season finale. Larson must be crying right now because he may not longer win the championship. But yeah, maybe Larson can put it all together like Elliott does. Hopefully Chevrolet as a whole does it all together, because the new Camaro body has not really done them any favors. Thankfully, Chevrolet announced that they were investing more in NASCAR. They launched a new facility for research and development for Camaro vehicles in NASCAR, and they're debuting a new body for the Gen 7, so it looks like Chevrolet's invested all in NASCAR. There were rumors that Chevrolet might drop out of NASCAR, and honestly, I do not believe that. Chevrolet is most storied manufacturer of NASCAR, the winningest manufacturer in NASCAR. It would be a tragedy if Chevrolet were to leave NASCAR. So it's pretty great. I got Larson number 7 because again, I believe in 2019 he had a great he had a late season surge in the postseason, and he also broke his winless streak, and also he is on the hopefully he's on the uptick. I smell a season of redemption for Kyle Larson. That's all I'm saying. Number 8, Brad Keselowski. I got Keselowski this low because Jeremy Bullins, because of one reason. That's Jeremy Bullins. Again, watch the Team Penske crew chief video if you want to know why I think that's gonna hurt Keselowski. But basically, Jeremy Bullins is the worst crew chief of the three Penske guys, and yeah, Keselowski was still the short end of the stick. Basically, I still think that he's gonna make the playoffs. I don't believe all that riffraff that he's going to miss the playoffs and all that. I do not think that. I believe Keselowski will still have a pretty solid season. The problem with him is his inconsistency. He either makes it to the round of 12, he either makes it to the championship 4, or he gets eliminated in the round of 12. It's always something with Keselowski. He's hard to figure out. There are also stretches in the season, like specifically in the spring, where he looks dominant in the spring, but then in the summer stretch he kinda struggles. Then when the postseason is about to begin, he starts like getting a bit hot, but then when the round of 12 begins, then he just self-destructs basically. Keselowski has shown to be inconsistent, and maybe Roger Penske may start to give up on him and start giving Ryan Blaney a chance. And that is who's next on this list. Ryan Blaney, number 9. I almost had Ryan Blaney over Keselowski at number 8, but Blaney has not proven anything yet. He's not quite there yet. He hasn't even won multiple races in a season yet. He hasn't even won at a speedway track yet. His 3 career wins have come at super speedways and road courses. So yeah, Blaney has a lot to prove, but I believe that with Todd Gordon by his side, I believe Ryan Blaney is going to finally have that breakout season. And if he does, then maybe I'll consider putting him over Keselowski, but that also depends if Keselowski has a bad season. And number 10, rounding out top 10, is Kurt Busch. And now that I think about it, I'm kind of shocked by seeing Kurt Busch this low. But when I think about it, the more sense it makes. Like many of these guys, I think Kurt Busch just hit 40 years old. I don't want to double check that, but I think Kurt Busch is 40 years old. If he's not, he's almost turning 40 years old. I'm pretty sure of that. But what I'm trying to say is he doesn't have many years left. And the fact that he was eliminated pretty early in the playoffs, he was eliminated way earlier than I expected in the playoffs last season, shows me that while Kurt Busch is still a pretty solid driver that could still get you 1 or 2 wins per season, I believe that his championship contending days are long gone, and he's going to eventually fall off just like Truex. Also, the fact that Kurt Busch doesn't have a ride after 2021 supports my theory that Kurt Busch might retire after 2021. I don't think so. I think he can still have a few good seasons left in him, but all the signs I'm pointing there that Kurt Busch might no longer be sticking with us in NASCAR. So finally, I want to say a few honorable mentions. This top 10 is pretty much, I don't think there are many objections with this top 10, but unless some people wanna object with why isn't this guy here on this list, here are a few honorable mentions. The first guy is Erik Jones. Same thing with Ryan Blaney. Erik Jones is the only unproven driver in a team with championship caliber drivers. He is the black sheep of Joe Gibbs Racing, like Ryan Blaney is the black sheep to Penske. Now, the reason why Ryan Blaney is on the top 10 and Erik Jones is not, is because he is way more inconsistent than Ryan Blaney. Like, you seriously, like look at his round of 16 results. Erik Jones was all but eliminated in the playoffs after the first round, and it was a disastrous first round. I don't even want to think about it. Another guy that almost made it to the top 10 is Alex Bowman. Many people are saying that Alex Bowman might have a breakout season. I do not think he will. I think Alex Bowman has reached his peak, and I don't think his ceiling is as high as a guy like, of course, Erik Jones or Ryan Blaney. I don't think Alex Bowman has that high of a ceiling. I believe he is gonna be one of those guys that could get you 1 or 2 wins. Could be a dark horse championship contender. He could make it to the round of 8 like a 1 or 2 times in his career, but I don't think it's gonna be when I look at Alex Bowman, I don't scream when this guy hits his prime he's gonna win a championship. Yeah, I don't see that flair in him. He doesn't scream championship driver when he hits his prime. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to any Bowman fans out there. I just don't see it. And my final honorable mention is William Byron. Now, this is a guy that I can see winning a championship by the end of this decade. I can see him becoming a championship caliber driver. He made a lot of progression last season. I was really impressed with that. And I think he's gonna be one of the favorites to get that first career win. He will for sure get a win this season. He will for sure win this season. If he doesn't, I'm gonna be very disappointed, because all signs point to William Byron winning in 2020. And so yeah, that's my top 10 list. My top 10 plus some honorable mentions. Leave your thoughts down below, comment your own list, and subscribe, like the video, ring the bell, because February is gonna be lit. Basically, that's all I'm saying. There's gonna be a lot of new content coming out. The 2020 season is upon us. And yeah, this is GTB Racing, and I'm out. Peace.